I'm just going also to just briefly say something because everything has been said already.
Domo ativangula akuti Ukuru Martins watunda kupange wahe okuyokutusinga Kenya.
Like the way how he narrated already that Mr. Martins came from his place, then get us. On that day, my friend Moses was not there. He was at the hospital in Zambia. When he found me, he told me that he was working at the post office. Yeah, it was called post office that time, but it's telecom. That time we were staying at Donkerhoek. That name Donkerhoek is those people who gave it that name. They were pitching their tent just here at Donkerhoek. So he came like with a drink and said, "Can you just give me 1 liter of Tassenberg?" That time, we were taking in. Then I said, it's fine. When you just as long as you promise that you are going to pay. Then he said, "No, I'm a teacher." He said, "I'm an elder person in the church." Then we gave him this a liter of Tassenberg. Then he poured the wine, 1 cup for him, 1 cup for me. Then as we started drinking, then he started questioning me. "Do you know this church called Adventist?" Then I said, "Where I come from, I heard, and that church is there." It's not only that I heard of it, I used to attend. Then he told me that if it's like that, we used to worship here in Rundu Secondary. Or Rundu SP. Then he said, "On Saturday I'll come and collect you." During that time, Alice and my wife, they were on this side. Then when we went to the church, then we find some white kids. These white kids, they were working with their mother. Then that white woman, she was the one teaching the cradle. She came with all the toys of which children have to play with. Alice and my wife, they were afraid to touch those tools, those dolls. Then this white lady was just coming and gathering them just to teach them. Then we went there the first Sabbath. This friend of mine was not there. Just the same week, that's when he was discharged from Sampaio hospital. I come and told him that I found the church elder, but that church elder is drinking. And that church elder took a Tassenberg here, but he said he will come again. Then I told him that he took me to their church, Adventist church, and that church I know it from home. That is the right church. Then he said, "Sabbath he will come and collect us. Are you also prepared to go?" Then he said, "Me, I don't know that church."
Masi tu ya kwenda tikayevelela.
I never heard of it, but I will go and listen.
Okania kamba betwana tunywa nywalao kabata bao juande ati hukandeko.
Then our friend who used to drink with us, they rebuked him that you are not going.
Ati amendenda nikatara.
Then he said, I will go and check.
Wende to anda ko de Sampatalia vali.
Then we went the second Sabbath.
Wenda ko vali Sampatalia tatu.
We went again the third Sabbath.
Ya kwana vo yula kandele vali.
The fourth Sabbath we went again.
Kandele
the fourth Sabbath they hold him, they did not go.
Amen dandele.
Then me, I went. Then our days now were due for us to go back to work. When we went back to work, we did not even say it or tell the old man here that we are going back to work. Even the church elder, we did not told him. So when they came at our place, the house was locked as we left. Then we went to Johannesburg. That one now, 1980. Then we worked the first year. As the year was about to end, then we were working with one closer guy who was threatening me that he's going to stab me with a knife. One day, as I met him, I was very afraid, but I checked that he was not the same. Then I started to wondering, this man, he said he will stab me with a knife, but now he has changed. There was people who were going, there were missionaries who were going around distributing Bibles. Then we also got those Bibles. Then we came at the grass, at the lawn somewhere. We sit down, we started reading our Bibles. Then as I check, I see this enemy of mine is coming again. Then, but I realized even the way he's walking is not the same. When he came closer or came near, he just greeted us. Then he asked us, this Bible you are reading, do you understand? Then we said, we don't understand. Then he asked us, what is your church? Then my friend here said, mine is Protestant. Then he told us that we have one place where we used to worship or to study. Then he told us that one day I'll come and collect you for us to go and start together. Then we said we will come. From that day, when we see each other, or one time when we went to the town, so we find that the smaller gate was closed and then only the big gate which was open. Because the big gate was 24 hours open. And for us now to go around, so that's when we realized that that is the place where they used to worship or study. When we were going around in the road, he checked and he saw us through the window. Then he left the place so that he go and meet us the other side. Then when he got to us, he said, "You, now we are going to that place to go and study." Then he told my friend that you take whatever you bought home, but make sure that you come back. Then you must come back with 2 jackets. Because here at our washing place, you cannot just come here without putting something or putting a jacket on. Then my friend went and came back. From that day on, then we started studying. That study convicted us. From that day on, we stopped drinking, we stopped going to the location. Then we went to study deep. As the year goes by, the next year we joined the baptismal class. The baptism happened in October.
1982.
That was in 1982. We were told that even if you are not baptized, the study which you went through have shaped you already. Wherever you are going to be baptized. Then we decided that we are not going without baptism. So we waited for baptism. That's when we went to the place called Matotosana, where we were baptized. So on that day, we were showcased in front of the congregation that these are people from Angola who accepted Jesus Christ and they were baptized today here. The church were advised to encourage us and not to go back again on our old ways. That is when now our days were also due for us to come back here. When we received our baptismal certificates, then we gave a notice for us now to leave South Africa to come back here. We were just waiting for 2 weeks, then we came here. Then we asked ourselves, now we are Adventists. If we are not going to find that the old man that they marry now, what are we going to do? Then we said, we are just going to ask around where he is. When we arrived here, we arrived and we accepted, or we stayed in Safari. We were just 2 days upon our arrival. The 3rd day, the foreman, as we all know, Meme Kambundu, was also having another house here. Then he said, then she said, the foreman now, she said, you are now going to stay at my place in Kehem. When we arrived in Kehem, we started now asking. Then we find him, as they showed at his house, we find that he was putting a hedge around his house. When I arrived, I just said, are you my brother Thomas? Then he said, I recognize you, my brothers. Then I told him the first word I said, we are also now Adventists. Then I said, we are baptized and here are our baptismal certificates. Oh, I could see the joy as this man was joyful now. Then he said, I'm very thankful for what you did. Then we told him that from today on, we are not going back again, we are going to stay here with you. That's when we started now worshiping at his house.
vokanjo onjo imayongu leo kutunga yanda ngono shapa kirugoro neneka yandere omoto akala kufendara.
So the house he was busy constructing without roof. That's the house which we started worshiping there.
Ojo tembo yacho sando handi katwo muine to akala ngono njo bitatu.
From that time on, him, as you heard that he went to Oshakati, that time he was not around because there were only 3 families. Or he was still at Rupara. There was only 3 houses. Then we were told that there's another man referring to Tatekahunda. He's not here, he stays at Rupara.
Ojo China uwala mlabana tiweya ejele ndoto watu singa etotoya.
So there was only one week passed, and the other week we saw him coming also.
Ojo kwenye tuafendera kumosi.
Then we worshipped together.
Etegelia jo amenda kundire.
That day I remember very well, I was the preacher.
Amenda kundire noke walika kuti ame kutunda hapa ame sirangalanga wali sembre mwesabatu rabato.
And I remember him saying this word that from today on I will not be absent again. Every Sabbath I will come.
Opo onembere ya fetika olonjo bitatu ya mwana itunda korupara.
That is how the church started here in Rundu. It was 3 families. The 4th family came all the way commuting from Rupara. From that time, we did not realize again whether there was any other Adventist. So let me also pause there and pass the mic to my friend. So he will tell you now the story how we met our friends from Katima. I hope we are recording it. Thank you very much, but I have a little cough. We are just briefly telling you the history, how the church started here in Rundu. In the year 1983, me and my friend Kamaku, whom you heard, we started traveling to Katima for us to get driving licenses. Because we did not have anybody who could translate for us from Portuguese to Africans here in Rundu. Because we heard that in Katima there is somebody who can translate from Portuguese to English. That is how we decided to go to Katima. When we reached there, we told them our mission or why we were there. When we were still waiting, then the Sabbath also came. Then we went to Ngwezi Church, we worshipped there. When we were asked, where are you coming from? Then we said we are coming from Rundu. We did not know that next to us, who was sitting next to us, was the former President Mbonero. Then they accepted as well. When we went out, then Pastor Mbonero invited the 2 of us. Then we went to his house at Boma Village. Then he started now questioning us. He asked us in Rundu, is there people who are worshiping there? Then we told them there are 3 families there. He told us that I have this plan for me to come and visit Rundu. Then it was difficult for me, or how am I going to start there? Now that you came, it gave me an idea that I will send some people to go there to Rundu. So the next week we got our driving license, then we came back to Rundu. After just 2 months, then we received visitors, Frank Mshawikwe, Elia Temwe, and Rosemary.
Frank Mshawikwe,
now among them, this Frank Mshawikwe, he was a literature evangelist selling books. Now his assistant was now Elia Temwe and Rosemary. They were just working together. When they came, there were nowhere for them to go. It was just, they just came and be accepted at the house of Tatemari. Then from there they sent a pastor with the name Siawi. Slower. Just close to Tatemari's house where he was residing that time, that's where we built the pastor's house and his assistant. So it was just like that. Just after a short time, so this young girl called Rosemary, she went back. Oh, she's late now, she passed away. That's what we are getting. Then from that time, that's when they send now the first youth to come here in Rundu. That time, these youth were under the leadership of Elder Mbukusa. That time he was very young. And Stephen Mamili. That group of youth was having a mission to come and just sing here in Rundu. After doing their work, then they went back. After that, the pastor and the wife, it was also not good between them. Then they also went back to Kachima. Then they sent us the pastor with the name John Samboma. He was the second pastor to arrive here in Rundu. Just right there at the house of Tate Thomas. If we know his son Kevin Samboma, he was just born here in Rundu. After the Pastor Samboma, then we were sent Christoph. They sent us another pastor, Pastor Christoph Masasa. So when the pastor arrived now, remember how many pastors now? So when he arrived, he was the first one to stay in the mission house. So Elder Ruben Masasa, the son of Pastor Masasa, was born here in Rundu. From that time, The work started now growing or going ahead. Then we received the fifth pastor now, of course, Pastor Azel. Now, from that time, from Pastor Azel's time, the church have now increased in number. When we are briefing you like this or talking it like this, no one thought about it or expected it. Because by the time when I was always go and collect the key for the school Rundu SP, it was not a good time that time. We went around worshiping, I think, in every class here at Rundu SP. When certain Dr. David went, that is when we were all told to stop worshiping there. This is briefly how it was, or how the work of the Lord started here in Rundu. Today, it's I must say, it's so surprising or wonderful that all this you see at the Maru, these are your grandchildren. It is. It's good that one day you are going to witness or to testify before God that this is how you started working Rundu. But because we are still physically here in this life, let us watch on one another. It is good, or it was good if we go and give this narrative to God Himself. For me, let me also end there. When this building was built, I was also not here. I went to Angola. When I came back from Angola, I found this structure. I said, oh, now we have a big building in the church. Okay. Omo yanda omo nembele. Okanyendo kusapiri omando gatete okupapatisiwa mulo Rundu kesa gloria joy. That's how the work started, but now we are going to tell you the first candidate, baptismal candidate who were baptized here in Rundu. Aba bapatisiwile ku pastore watete waliangere mulo. Those who were baptized by the pastor who was here first. Mama Regina Katuga. Our mother Gina, Mama Pau Katuga, Pau. These were the first candidates who were baptized. That's where the first candidates who were baptized here in Rundu. That's what I wanted to also to add. It is good when you know or you learn about the beginning. It's not easy. Me, when I came here in Namibia, I was already an Adventist. But I was just like here, this elder of mine, at the same time he's my son. I was baptized in 1972 in Angola. And from there, in 1974, war started in Angola. When the war started, we were the first group or the first recruits in that war. During wartime or in war, there's nothing.